you what's really happening, good people. How you guys doing out there? Y'all know who it is. Finally, it's Monday. It's officially, I think we are into like the third day of fall. And in Cleveland, it's cold. It's cold here. Is it cold in California?
Hell no.
I knew you was gonna say that, but I just wanted to hear you say it, just because I'm mad as hell. It's cold in Cleveland, but this Cleveland, it gets cold like that here. It's just always like that. So, anywho, today is Monday, and we are back for another cool, dope episode of some of the dumbest that people say about black hair. Let me see here. Looking over here, saying something about LinkedIn. Hold on. LinkedIn always giving us some trouble. Well,
So
we
I'm
sorry.
I'm sharing this link on my page, right?
Yeah, you sure can. You can share this to your page. Yeah. So here we go. We're all fired up. We fired up. We ready to go. That's where we're at. So this is going to be a good episode. This one is all about parenting and the role that parents play, in taking care of their children's hair. Because we got two parts. So the first part, we're actually going to talk about parents, what should they do, not do, so on and so forth. We're going to get a little deep into the discussion. I think I got 4 topics here about like the biggest mistakes that parents make. Parents being role models, the regimen. We're going to get you guys all set up, because when we come back next week, we're going to actually go into some of the styles that can cause a problem and which styles can't cause a problem, and we'll go over the tools. So for all the parents out here who are wondering, all right, smarty pants, you guys went on and the who, what, when, where, why, when, how. Now the question is, what is it exactly our parents to do, when it comes to actually caring for the children's hair. And so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to help parents out. Now, this is a good one, because you can watch this post the live, and then you'll really be able to have some good dialogue, like, honey, I told you, or I had a feeling, or, oh, really? Okay. So as cosmetologists, we feel like, we're pretty good at helping you guys out, because this is what we do, So before we get into the topic, I got 3 current events. I think you're gonna like this one. I just kind of want to, and I hope some of you guys will have some feedback. So feel free to get some of y'all, feedback into the chat. So first, here's the first thing. So I was in Atlanta this past weekend promoting the documentary, and let me just tell you, Atlanta really showed up and was extremely supportive, and those cosmetologists had a lot to say about what the truth about Afro hair, which I wasn't surprised. Atlanta came through, and those hairstylists was really like, yeah, it's a whole lot of stuff that's missing, and a lot of stuff that we need to amplify. So we got a different take on this conversation about Afro hair. So I was really excited about Atlanta, which I wasn't surprised, but I was very happy and elated that Atlanta did show up, and they're really going to be supporting the documentary. And I'm wrapping up that trailer, so Cheryl, you're going to be like, okay, kid, y'all do a little something with y'all little cut and snip over there. But let's get into some of this current event stuff, starting with the Woman King. So while I was in Atlanta, I did go and see the Woman King with my 2 BFFs. And so when I came out, I hopped online, I was going to give my 2 cents about it. But I was really surprised at the negative feedback that a lot of African Americans, particularly men, they're not feeling the Woman King. What's up with that? Why y'all ain't liking the Woman King? So I'm gonna tell you what they were saying. So the number one reason they're not liking the Woman King, number one, is because of the Dahomey tribe. We talked about this a little bit last week. Their contribution in the slave trade. So that was one. Number two, the men were just going ham about white women's role in the production of the movie. I don't know what it was, but they were just saying these white women. I'm like, really? And then last but not least, they kind of felt that Viola, like she was really like selling out, that she should not have done this movie. And I'm kind of confused. So have you seen The Woman King?
I have not.
Any feedback on what I just said?
Well, I don't really have a desire to see it. I am familiar with um, the urban legend and the placement of the Dahomey tribe, African tribes, and all of that good stuff in terms of at the um, maybe several years before um, the slave trade, European slave trade, because there were two in that context. Um, but I don't have a desire to see it only because I mean I'll get around to see it because I love Viola. Um, but I don't. What were they upset with specifically as you saw the movie? Because are they complaining that it's on the silver screen, or what are like what was their backlash?
So it appears the backlash is just really about um, just women, the role that women are playing in the production and the promotion and just the whole aspect of the movie. I think men, the ones that I saw some on YouTube, I saw some stuff come through Google, that just, I was like, wow, like, okay. And then, like I said, the other thing, they just felt like Viola Davis was just kind of, doing what she was told, and, that she should not have done that. And I was just like, I don't know, black guys. And I don't know that black guys really said it, because you know how the media is. They like to, put controversy out there. So I don't know, but I did see some stuff on YouTube. And I was just like, wow, this one guy, he had a whole, hour just like really like blasting it. And I was like, that's very interesting. So I did see it, and I thought that it was, even though it wasn't like, it wasn't an actual account. So, it's Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? But we need to, I feel like now that now that I can say that I'm a filmmaker and I'm starting to learn so much about this whole filmmaking process, I think that now more than ever, as, I'm going to say people of color, but whoever you are, if you have a story to tell, you need to just tell it. People are going to have something to say anyway, and you can't do it by yourself. I could not do this by myself. So I don't know if I would get off into a white woman helped, this type of person backed me up, whatever, because making movies and filmmaking, that's no small feat, and who knows everything. You got to have some input. So I thought that it was really good. I won't be a what you call that, spoiler alert on any part of it, but we do need to tell our stories, and it's white people helping me out tell this story. So I'm ready. Bring it. And come on and say what y'all got to say, because I got something to say too. So we just got to kill
Okay,
the whole.
but we've always known. I mean, see, this reminds me of the comment I saw on Clubhouse, where black men were calling out black women for still relaxing, right?
Right.
And it kind of drove into while the young lady was speaking, and they just poured in on her, and they just went in. right?
Right.
And so I'm listening, and I said, well, you guys relaxed 7 to 8 years before we did. And not once did a black woman pull in your manhood, your loyalty to culture. In fact, it was actually a way for you, a survival mechanism. And not one did she make you feel guilty about that. So, what is it about black males in particular that want to hold black women to another standard? I mean, the black men can do and say just about the most offensive things about women in their comedian acts, that anything they want to over accentuate our attitudes and personas and dispositions to do whatever it is that they want. And it's just like really old. I mean, it sounds so childlike and so candy assed. And just look at what the story is trying to tell you from the value. A black man's told in every surrection that black people were trying to do to get free in this country. The black women point it out and say, you know what, you guys are the real Uncle Tom. You the real Quimbo Simbo. You the one that can't be trusted. I mean, just black men just have the gall to just really just stop and just let it, the story be, bathe, give them a sound bath and you know, and just allow them to understand, because black women always had sovereignty coming out of the continent. And so I don't know why that particular story, because it made it on the silver screen. You know, I mean, we watched the movie Django, and they just because they didn't like the Samuel L. Jackson character. I mean, the butler in the big house always was an asshole to black people, but we just brush over it. Oh, it's a survival mechanism. It's the way we was. But I mean, it's always an excuse when it comes to them.
Hmm. Yeah, I just think, like I said, we need to tell our stories. And like you said, well, listen first before you have something to say, and then we can have a healthy dialogue. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the, buzz, a spoiler alert. I thought it was very well told, very well put together. And so kudos to Miss Viola. Kudos, kudos,
Absolutely.
kudos. Next up, I was watching the news, trying to keep up with the news a little bit, and I just can't. Every time I hear the number 45, I just got to turn it off. So I didn't get to that. But what I did get to was an interview from a gentleman by the name of Brian Chesky, and he's the owner of Airbnb. And so he was being interviewed because he and Elon Musk are going at it about, should we go back to work, or should we, stay online, or, working from home rather. And so I was surprised that he said that he felt it would be a combination, a hybrid of being able to work from home as well as going into the office. And Elon Musk was like, "You're stupid, you're young, you're dumb." I mean, he had nothing nice to say. I know hairstylists, we like, well, we can't work from home, so that is not an issue for us. But what do you think about, should people go back to work, or the hybrid? I mean, my friends who work from home, they tell me that the companies get more out of them working from home than they did when they were commuting and working in the office. So, what you think?
Well, it depends on how you enjoy what you enjoy. You like the interaction with people at work in a business environment, or versus the people who are extroverts. They finally have a choice,
Mm-hmm.
and they perform without supervision. It's a personality, type, and it's probably one that HR should take a look at as an option, if the job uh, presents itself to that particular option. Once you just start discussing the tax benefit of now incorporating your home and the wonderful tax benefits of
Ooh.
staying at home in terms of having a business and making sure that you can, make the combination. There is so much tax benefit to building a home office, and your food, your lodge, and your rent or your mortgage, and all of that part of the use of your home. And so, I think that people will become businesses, because staying at home will, and the tax credit will give us
Being
the
a cinema.
advantage
Right. Yeah. Right.
of having an actual business at home, and then contracting that very work or whatever that is
Right.
back out to
Right, and he did say that that would be Brian Chesky. He said, "Well, Elon Musk, they a large portion of their what they do, you have to go in like you're assembling a car,
oh,
but for the people within the Elon Musk organization." That he better rethink that because the companies these are like some perks that the companies are using to pull in like your high performing, multitasking, type of new, worker, is that they don't necessarily want to be, boxed in. So Elon Musk, he better get it together. So I thought it was just interesting in that Elon Musk just came in like, he was Poppy Chulo, like, listen here, little young whippersnapper. I ain't gonna be none of that right there. So the guy was just like, we'll see, because the people who employers now have a lot more power than they had before. So employees. So employers need to wake up and smell the coffee,
absolutely.
because things are definitely changing. So this is going to be interesting. Another thing I thought was interesting, we're going to hop right into it, and that is King Tut's tomb. Right before I got ready to, click the live button, there it was. The Guardian reports that there is a Egyptologist or something of that nature out of Great Britain who is saying that Nefertiti's tomb is connected to King Tut's tomb, and that on the hieroglyphs or the Medineter, they read the little it's called what's that thing? The cartouche or the Chenu was giving the clue all alone, and so they're going to try to go back in. I don't know when, but they're saying that the Nefertiti's tomb is there, and that in the hieroglyphs, if you look in between the lines, no pun intended, that he is telling the story of this is who he buried, his predecessor. So this is going to be interesting because people are really trying to get to know a whole lot more about Nefertiti. So I kind of hope something's there, though. I ain't for disturbing the. I always kind of grapple with that, because I'll be digging me, but burn me up, because I ain't going to be digging me up talking about something. Them Ladosha's real teeth, was that her hair, her real hair? Don't be digging me up trying to, put me up on no wall. I don't know about that. But anywho, that's what excavators and Egyptologists and archaeologists, that is what they do. That is how we get our history. But, so let's see if she is down there. We'll see what happens. Because white folk, they gonna dig it up anyway. Shutting up, Ladosha. We're gonna dig it up and see if Nefertiti is down there, and see what her tomb reveals. And you say no, leave her alone, let her rest in peace.
No, I'm saying I want you to dig up who you said lived. We know Africans lived. I want you to dig up John the Baptist. I want you to dig up all them folks you said was real. You don't ever dig up y'all. You only dig
Oh,
up Africans. We know we were real. So go dig up you. And it comes to all white European stuff. They were thought to have been buried here. Go pick up, go dig up Zeus. Go dig up your gods. Go dig up so we can see they mummies. We know we were had people lived 8,000 years ago. I want to see y'all.
Uh-oh. Sure, you just unapologetically brilliant. Did you
I
hear
don't.
that? Go dig up them Jesus bones. They want to see. And she said, McCombs girls, and they need to find Jimmy Hoffa.
You don't never find you guys. You'll never find Jesus, John the Baptist, King Solomon, Abraham. Go. Where are they?
Oh.
We want to
Mm.
know. Why aren't you guys curious about your own people?
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
a good
like us,
point.
right? No, no, you don't like us, right? That's see that's neurotic
Hmm.
to me.
That's
Anyway,
deep. That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. Well, we gonna go ahead on. We done went through some good current events. Try to get some folks in the chat. So remember, if you are watching, go ahead on right now and hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching us on Facebook, don't forget to keep hitting the heart button so folks will know that Cheryl and I, we are live and direct from Cleveland, Ohio, and sunny, super sunny San Diego, California. We have a wonderful topic tonight, and it's all about the role of parents in your children's hair care. Now, this one is really going to be a little intense, and this is one of those things. It's just ain't no way to say it but to just say it. So I'm going to kind of bring the conversation in about a young lady. She was in a pageant, and this was just recently, about 2 or 3 months ago. And so the pageant, she did not place in the pageant, and the reason she didn't place in the pageant, because the judge said that her hair was unfinished. That's one. She said it was unfinished, and so she was a white judge. So a principal came back to try to defend the white judge and say that, number one, she didn't know, right? And
you know,
then number two, she said that this was the sister. She said, at the end of the day, I'm just kind of paraphrasing. Black people, we need to address what is finished and not finished, kempt or unkempt, and that the little girl's hair, well, she was a teenager, but we're going to call her a little girl because we old folk, you know what I'm saying? That basically her hair was unfinished. It wasn't so much that she wore a natural hairstyle, that this was a natural hairstyle that was just like unfinished. I'm just going to use that word. And so, as we get into the topic of the role that parents play, let's just start there at the beginning. What role do parents play? Because the co-host was saying that her daughter does not want the hair finished. She wants to walk out the house and wear the hair, and that we are getting this kind of convoluted because we are comparing that finished look to this, this white, definition of what, a finished look should be. So let's start there on the role that the parents play in defining what is finished, and you could just kind of take it from there.
well, what is finished is when your mama say it's finished, and I don't understand why mothers can't take control over their daughter's hair until actually my mother did have uh, jurisdiction and dominion over her daughter and son's hair until they moved out. She had dominion on their clothes until they moved out.
Well, now hold on,
Okay.
Cheryl. Don't children have liberty and freedom to say how they want to look? If they don't want their hair combed and picked or twisted, if they just want to get up and go, don't children have a right to how they want to look?
I'm trying to wait till you get that button together. No, they don't. Um, they don't have any say of how they come out of the house. That's a representation, and it is also part of grooming. It's a part of hygiene. It's a part of lessons. It's a part of appropriateness. Now, it's strange how the child will go to school and have some kind of proxy over how they want to go to school, but they don't have any proxy on how they go to church. And so we're getting caught up into completely madness. They do not have jurisdiction over the way they look and the way their appropriateness and the way, not as long as a parent, a guardian, a mentor. Now, if their mentor told them, get your ass back in the house and even all that up so it can make sense, okay? And let me see it before you go, okay? Because it's a representation of being loved and paid attention to and to be checked out. I don't want you going out of the house with one shoe, one color, and the other shoe, the other color. It's the same thing. The parents are over the uniform and the congruency and the neatness and hygiene of how you come out. So, no, I don't believe that children have rights.
Well, I'm about to play Kilolo. I'm about to go Kilolo on you, okay? I'm about to go Kilolo because, sure, what you fail to realize that these kids today, they have rights too, okay? And so children today can tell you, like, I don't want to wear that shirt. I don't want to wear those shoes. I want to take it off. And the parent and the child is at a conflict. So if a child can say, I don't want to put those shoes on, I don't want to wear that jacket, can't they just say? Now, I'm just going to say, as a parent, I'm on your side. My children cannot tell me what to do. And it's not because,
No, 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 no.
I'm just, but
Your
I'm
kids,
just saying the kids, they say the children have to be able to express themselves. And when we
absolutely.
don't do that, we tell them, then we're messing up because you hear all the Sandra Bullock and the Gabrielle Union letting the kids. So, what about that part?
No, they can say whatever they want to say. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't express yourself because you're the reason why you got a yellow shirt instead of an orange shirt. Bravo. Okay. If it was up to me, you had white and black. Okay, so now you got orange, yellow, purple. Cool. That's what you wanted. At the end of the day, I'm not buying anything that I find that's gonna one disrespect you, misrepresent what we of the standards of living that we have, and I'm not gonna let you do it. You are going to go out looking the way you would like people to see you, and thus, as Karl Lagerfeld always taught the 1997 class of Naomi Sam's salon in New York, your clothes are extremely important. And he told me, you dress very provocative and make sure that you can handle people treating you provocatively because people treat you how you look. And that's the bottom line. And if I'm in charge of that and I want them to honor you and respect you, and I want you to have self respect and self worthiness, and I am setting you up to compete in the marketplace called the world stage, no, I am not leaving that up to chance and up to your rule. You kiss my ass with that. You're going to do it my way until you can get a handle onto your style, your own sense of style, your own sense of taste. You understand what one location versus the other location. I'm going to teach you etiquette and dress and appropriateness. Now, the conversation is to defined unfinished. And I think that that is at that point, the parents have the responsibility to make sure that once they do leave the house, it is finished according to their standards. Because you're right.
Right.
Ever since she was one, she didn't want to do nothing to her hair. I didn't, because I had a lot of it. My mother was not deterred, and her dream not deferred about how she wanted me to look.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Because my mom wasn't either. Because I would run. I did a couple of videos before we went live saying how many parents can relate, to the child who runs and tell, their grandmother or their father or their auntie, that, you're combing the hair, you're being too rough, on the hair. And the parent at the end of the day would be like, well, either you can do it or I can do it, but the hair will be done. So, with that being said, the hair will be done. What about the role that sometimes I do feel like as a hairstylist,
Mm,
parents overlook the very important role that they play. So, for
yes.
example, this is how I actually became a hairstylist. When
Okay.
I was an outreach worker, our job at that time was like family reunification, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we were the agency that when the child services was called onto the family and you
Mm-hmm.
had to go in and try to reunify the family, you had to look at the progress note or the notes of why the child was referred to the family services.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people like, I don't like that because they picking on black people, but the hair would almost always be included into the red flag of something was wrong in the home because the child's hair was unkempt. And so when I would go into the home and talk to the parents, like, well, what's going on, and with the hitting and the whacking or whatever, the drug mule, you name it, it didn't matter. What always came up was the hair. I'm not making this up. I even wrote it in my book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, about my journey into these families sharing with me that a lot of the poor decisions that they were making was because they did not like themselves. So when I would ask, well, what is it about yourself you don't like? I'm telling you guys, it didn't matter what color, what socioeconomic, because everybody got called on. It didn't matter if you was rich, poor, it didn't matter. I'm telling you, 99% would be the hair. Why did you hit your kid? They wasn't, sitting still. I was trying to hurry get ready for work, so I whacked her. The hair looked like, the baby's daddy, so I whacked her. I muled the drugs so I could buy some hair. I muled the drugs because he picked the other girl because her hair looked better than mine. So something about the hair always kept coming up. But one of the things that I noticed, that when you put those side by side, was that the parents' hair would oftentimes not be combed either. And so, as we move through this conversation about the role that parents play, I think with the the increase of wigs and weave wearing, I think the parents don't realize that as the child watches you go through any struggle, because you're just gonna go through stuff,
Right.
that hair is speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not so much what you're saying to the child that matters, it's
Mm-hmm.
what the child sees. So speak to that. So because there are a lot of parents that are not, like I said, I'm in the hair salon and we see this a lot. And I'm not picking, I'm just telling the truth according to proof. Where you see parents, their hair is never combed, and the number one question they want to know is, how come he or she won't comb their hair? Remember, they're watching you go through all these things. And I say the child will do what they see the parent. And you would say,
Ah, God. I think we've hit on it already some episodes back. And this is where we also get um, the saying, you know, make it last. It's part and parcel of not wanting to deal with, and then too, not wanting to take the time and not wanting to prioritize it and not having the time to prioritize it because you should not be in a rushed, upset, uh, anxious mood beautifying and adoring yourself and getting yourself presentable. That is just not the energy. And maybe that energy is very scarce in a home with very low resources or very high resources. It's just drug filled, or it's got some other family issues that just does not allow self advocacy and self care. And that usually is probably one of the main features of why we do not see ourselves as worthy of any time or patience, or because that you have to muster a lot of emotional intelligence to beautify yourself and your children and to show your children how much you love yourself, and painting your nails and allowing them to join in and allowing them to clean and to be, and here we go again. It's the hygiene in the combination of grooming, and then the combination of hygiene and then grooming dovetails into beauty, because that's the way you live. That's how you feel. Grooming is the act of cleaning. Grooming is being presentable and having people treat and receive you the way you want and how you feel inside. And beauty is just how you emotionally just deal with life and how you see the beauty in other people. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think you made a really, really good point. What's up, Nia Kobe? I see you in the chat. You and McCown's girl. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And you guys go ahead on and feel free to drop some of your feedback, in the chat. Now, to your point, about resources and also understanding, the child's hair. I think one of the things that gets overlooked when you're talking, with parents about, the child's hair is preparation. Now, I'm just speaking for myself, y'all. I ain't gonna talk about nobody else. I'm just gonna talk about myself, okay? I was a teen mom. I got pregnant at 14. I had my son at 15, and he had, oh my God, he had hair like a girl. I mean, and my father was like, you can't cut his hair. I was like, what? So my father said you can't cut his hair until he is 5 years old. So I was not, I'm talking 15 years old. I remember thinking, when I had my son, like, damn, I was just playing with a baby doll like 2 years ago. Seriously, I'm just talking about myself. And I know that one of the challenges as a parent, especially a young parent, is preparation. That we don't think these things through when our parents talk to us about the decision to bring life into the world. These are the things that we need to think about before we give birth. Now, we may not think about it in the act. I'm just talking about myself now. I ain't gonna talk about y'all. Don't skin a cake on a kettle black. We may not think about it at that time, but once you make the decision that you're going to bring life into the world, we have to think about all of the preparation that's going to be needed. So when it comes to hair, I think it gets very tricky because we don't know what the hair is going to be like. That's number one. And then number two, the shit keep changing. So what's up? I mean, my son came out, he had one kind of hair, and then when he was 3, he had another kind of hair, and then he was 5. I was like, I don't even know. So talk about the preparation because that does not get talked about. I mean, I was prepared to have a son, and then the culture that I saw before me was that little boys went to the barber shop at, I guess, maybe like 2 or 3, and you cut their hair off. That's all I knew. So to actually have to do his hair, I wasn't prepared. Nobody told me. My dad, when he said that, I'm like, well, I ain't got no comb, I ain't got no brush, So talk about preparation to bring this life into the world and how this hair changes, because that threw me for a loop. I know I'm not the only person. I know I'm not the only parent. I was surprised at the changes that my son's hair, kept going through before he was even 5. And that was just, I don't know. Maybe I'm not the only one, but his hair changed at least to me. I know for a fact 3 times by the time he was 5 years old.
Absolutely. One of the things that until you told me we had another episode coming up, but there's a lecture I do called Hair Metamorphosis, and to understand just skin and how your body changes, but more distinctively, black people and black children, and you get to watch the increase in resources and the increase in the dominant features as the baby's features become dominant, how that really shows up in some of their pheno traits, such as hair, lips, eyes, ears, and the height, and attitude and speaking and their teeth. And so your body is changing and it's getting, it's moving towards its zenith. Then once the zenith happens, and then you have this, I won't say decline, but you have this other transformation to where at that point the wisdom and knowledge and things of that nature becomes premier, and then your physicality is becomes stable. Sometimes most people are blessed to have it, for long periods of time. But I will say that uh, and when we're talking about the transformation of the hair, I don't think the mother and father are aware that the changing of the hair is a body and systemic thing. The hair is not changing. The skin is changing. The scalp is changing because it's supporting a hair, it's supporting the phase, and it's actually 13 years. It's not 5. It's just that probably the last drastic jump happened from 0 to 5. But the hair changes until 13 because they're not an adult. So they're getting their adult teeth, their adult hair, their adult eyebrows, their adult body hair, and then they go through puberty, and then that is when they're going into adult.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What's up, Hattie Mae? I see we got Mississippi representing, baby, baby. What's up? We got the sip in the house. Sister Naya Colby says his dad doesn't, she said that she has a 7-month-old son, right? And she said this topic is right on point, and the amount of hair that he has is unbelievable. And his dad, okay, so his dad doesn't want his hair cut either, but you're starting to get frustrated. Yeah. I mean, that's what this podcast is about. Specifically, this one is for parents because it is frustrating. I mean, like, what comb, what products, it was so much. I mean, I'm like, he got too much. Cut this shit off. And my dad was like, you better not cut his hair. And I'm like, I can't.
But I don't get it, ladies. Please explain that. Why is cutting the hair more convenient? Y'all gonna have to explain that one to me, because it sounds like it's that we need to be talking about your limited skills, but the way you guys say it is that it's about his hair.
Well, it felt like I was torturing him. I know I'm not the only parent. I felt like when I was combing his hair, I did not like to see him
okay,
cry.
Okay, so we need to learn some skills. Okay, then that's what we need to. That's the conversation. Okay, because I thought you was dealing with the hair, because he's gonna always have hair. You're gonna always have hair, right? You've mastered yours, right?
Right, but I'm and I see you in the chat. His hair, started, to dread. I was having the same experience where his hair, especially when he was like from maybe like 2 to like 4, it would just mat. It was no product, and you're right. There was nobody to talk to about what to do with his hair, except people kept saying, "Don't cut it. And
Well, I would agree on not cutting it. How
really,
now, however, because it's a scalp thing, it's a scalp thing. You want to have the hair scalp protected up until he gets out of preschool.
so wait, let me interject. You don't think that's torture? Like to hear your kid like screaming, like we trying to comb their hair and
If they're screaming, it's your problem. It's not his problem. I'm not. And let me just say this: I understand because don't nobody teach you how to do it. Now, one of the things that I will say, you cut the ends because the ends is what he was born with. So you kind of have to keep kind of shaving away those little ends because the ends, that is not his adult hair. That's not the hair he's going to end up on his head when he becomes 13, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21. So you can slowly start to remove it, but don't cut it down to the scalp because the scalp is exposed. Just take it and just little clip. And here we go again. There should be child cosmetologists at your salon owners that specialize in babies and children. Because you have to understand the hair at the ends will gonna most likely turn colors. It's gonna lightly get brittle because that's when they're telling you to start snipping them. It's just the same thing as the principle as a baby's teeth. Once the baby's 4 teeth come in, they're cutters. They get the 2 bottoms and the 2 tops. That's their cutters, not their canines or their chewers. That's their cutters. They shed them. It's not real. They're just there as preliminary placeholders. So you have to use that same principle. But no amount of water, no amount of moisturizer, no matter Vaseline, that hair is not going to absorb. It is not meant to absorb. It is just
okay.
there as a placeholder. So you can start shaving the tips. Just start shaving the tips. So when you comb it, it just glides. You cannot sit there and try to comb ends that are you're supposed to start cutting that stuff away from the body, not the whole strand, just the ends.
Okay, so now we got that part. Now I see you again in the chat because boy, I wish you was around when I had my son. Woo! Because you got to keep in mind too that I'm speaking, like I said, for myself. I was not an adult parent. I was a
Okay.
teen parent, and so I had to really. I did. My parents had to navigate me. They were like the intermediaries of me, taking care of my son. But like she said in the chat, you have all these products out here that's supposed to be for, the baby's hair. But what I found, I'm just again speaking for myself, and hopefully, as you guys are listening, another parent can relate. Those products that's quote unquote for children. I don't know if boys' hair are different from girls' hair because I didn't have daughters, I had sons. But I'm here to tell you when I say none of it worked, none of it worked. And did end up having to use adult products on his hair. But like she said, I was concerned. Number one, would it get in his eye? Then number two, would it irritate, his skin? So speak to the parents about now we understand that we have to be prepared and we have to do a little snipping here. We got to, do this as a team effort. But what about these products when it comes to what to use on these children's hair who have a lot of texture? Because you see all this stuff out here, and to me it was just like water with like milk or something. I don't know. It was just like garbage.
Okay, well, my whole thing is you guys, see, here's the thing about hair care is that unfortunately the products, especially if they're coming out of white labs, okay, let's just be honest, black labs too, shit, it don't make no difference. Um, the product don't know that they 5. See, the product don't have no thoughts. It don't know it's on a surface that is 2 years old. The amniotic fluid of a mother is the only liquid that ever kept the hair from being terminal and adult life. It kept it very soft, feathery, and vellus, right?
Right.
Okay. So at that point, once it hits air and the hair and the body starts to begin to maturate, forget it. The baby's hair is on a phase, it is on a transformation. And you are not going to, the scalp does not have enough fat to allow the hair to get from lanugo and vellus to terminal in a matter of 5 years. You can't expect that particular feel and hair. It has not maturated yet. It doesn't have. It's not adult. You're used to working on adult hair.
Right.
That the baby's hair is in a constant transformation because the scalp is in a constant transformation. The skin is in a constant transformation. It just does not, the bottom of a baby's feet are it's not tough yet. The fingerprints have not formed yet. And
Hmm.
so once you understand that, stop trying to approach this thing and make them look. What are you trying to make them look like? They going to a job interview?
Little mini me's. Ain't that right, Nakobe? Ain't that what we trying to do?
There,
We're trying to make us some little mini me's.
therein lies the problem.
Okay.
Okay, because they're just not. They're not there yet. The hair is. Don't even talk about the hair up here. I mean, it
Hmm.
is just a nightmare.
Hmm.
But it's a nightmare because you're trying to apply adult, adult, skill sets and products and baby. There is no such thing as no baby version of glycerin. Like a age, I mean, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Hmm.
There's no adult water. There's no adult shea butter. There's no adult, what I mean? So
Right.
just
Cut it up.
relax.
Yeah, so it's all the
Cut it.
wow. Now here
Yeah.
I'm a cosmetologist, guys, and I'm saying wow myself. This is why we're all here. You know what I'm saying? I've had my reservations, honestly, about the kitty products, but I never thought of it that way. Like there's no such thing as a baby ingredient. You know what I'm saying? So that's really interesting. But we
Now
talk
we can
about
deal with mild, but at that point, all of it has no pH. It's just water and lotion. It's just trying to keep the hair in control and stuff being all wow. Other than that, the product itself does not know it's on a 5-year-old
all right. So here
versus
I
a
have
50-year-old.
my here are the tools that I see that has traumatized children. Now, if you are a mama and you know anything about these, I don't care what race you are, I try to put something that every parent may or may not have in their arsenal of caring for their kids' hair. Now, that you might have a flat iron, but we've got the god awful brush, and this what made me. What I just this, and I'm not talking about Goody. God bless them. But what's up with this? Not man. Listen, this felt like the razor blades. This it was torture. Okay, these wide tooth combs. Jesus, these things. I don't know about those. The straightening comb. Oh, heaven forbid your mom burned your ear or the flat iron and they got your ooh ooh ooh. And then we cannot forget. You said your mom. Your mom and that damn hot cup girl bye. And we cannot forget, yo, if you don't stop that crying and I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna give you something to cry about. What y'all come on now, Kobe. Y'all know this kilo no in there. He's at up in here. We swat these kids and now I ain't gonna lie, I used to hit my son like you better sit still. So should we be whacking our kids if they don't stop it? Sit still. Yeah, I'm gonna give you something to cry for. Come on, what y'all know about that? And using these hot tools and the comb. So talk about this regimen and how do we get our
I got.
kids to
When I was in the house with my little young sweetheart nieces, okay, and their mother used to be fighting. I mean, just throwing down. I said, "Can we just wait until they go to sleep?" I mean, is there any reason why we got to even have? Do they need to be breathing? Are they gonna have an opinion? They're not gonna have an opinion. You're gonna do it the way you want to do it. You're gonna do it in the time you want to do it. Why? So I would have this special way that we laid them and just hang their head off, and she would have her stories, and she would just have no crying. They wouldn't be up. Put it back to bed. Now when they get old enough to where that they can partake and hand you something and take their mind off of it and everything. We'd have a talk right before we do it. I take smaller sections. I never, and I specialize in children, I never had a problem. Never. Even if they brought them to my salon, my brownstone, and when I was in Harlem, I never had a problem because it was a conversation. And they swore, oh, she gonna show out. Boys would cry, but they would never show out. Girls would just show out, and they would say, you know, here it come. I mean, the fathers and then the parents and everybody would just brace themselves, and I would take her in the bathroom, and we'd have a conversation, and I would tell her that I'm in charge and this is what I need you to do. Never had a problem.
Wow. Okay, parents. So here's another word to the wise.
Wait a minute, and one was autistic.
Oh, wow.
We never had a problem because they were at Buckingham Palace, and they had Buckingham Palace behavior, and I think that is just the fear, and the child smells her frustration, and it's down in the energy of her hands. And it's all in her energy in her lap. It's just that she needs to take time. And it's so funny. Wow. And I do think male fathers probably do have a better energy because he is trying to bond. And so that there's just a different transfer of energy. And so we all need to make sure that we can do better with our energy at that time.
Yeah, that's really, really key, guys. So parents, you got to understand it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And also having that talk. I know that one of the things I encourage all of my parents to do is to do exactly what you just said. You have to sit down and have that big girl, big boy, whatever you want to call it, conversation with your child, about their hair. It can't just always be this tug of war of yelling and demands. You're going to have to sit down and do this in a civilized manner because the child has to get their hair combed. That's number one. Number two, I love the way you said to get the child involved. I think the biggest mistake parents make is they don't let their kids touch their hair. I know she'll probably watch this. I'm not going to say her name, but she knows who she is. But I had a young lady, she was a college student, and when she come to the salon, I would teach her how to comb her hair and everything. But every time she would come back, her hair would just be wretchedly tangled, matted, and so on and so forth. And the mother would complain about the cost of the service. So I was explaining to her, she would just detangle the hair because that's where the price was going up. It literally took 1 hour to detangle her hair. We have to charge for that, right? And so the last time when she came, it was the same thing. And I was going over it with her, and she just kind of snapped. It was like, what you need to understand, Miss Wright, I've never combed my hair. I've always had a hairdresser. And I don't have, any intentions. I hear you, but that's what you're for. Talk to the parents who just remove the child from the process of being involved with their hair and feeling very high and mighty and hoity-toity that I don't do my hair. Girl, by the sister Maya Colby, I'm telling the truth. That's what she said. I don't do my hair. I go to the salon every 2 weeks. She wasn't having it. So speak to that and why it's so important to have, because I felt like this young lady is like about 21 years old. She had zero clue of what to do to her hair. That was her response. And I know what that came from was the parent not having the child involved in any capacity, to learn to do their hair and to understand it. Can you please speak to how important that is? And that it's not, you're not, I don't care how much money you have. I just don't think it's a good thing when a young lady is saying, I don't do my hair. I go to the hair. That's what you get paid to do.
As hair coaches, and I do think that there should be a hair coach in every salon as well, and a person who knows how to interpret that. Because at that time, let's just say in my salon, I would have wanted my hairstylist to stop, and we would have went into my office, because that was not entitlement, and that was not socioeconomic. That was being ignored and abandoned. And so, because if it were not, guess what we both could do to solve your problem, your money problem, and your tangle problem? We can go to John at the barbershop side. John, yeah, you. We can cut this all off right now. We can end this right now. But see, you don't want to do that. See, what you want to do is because you're angry that your mother did not take and to prioritize you and did not. So now she just put her off on Ladosha and another woman and another hairstylist. See, that was it. And you probably said it just like she said it to you. It was very visceral and very angry and very just, but she covered it up with entitlement and as if because she had the money, but she was extremely abandoned and was not taught how to value herself in terms of her grooming process and her hygiene and then her beauty process. So hair coaching, and so that conversation needed to happen with the mother. And see, I would have stopped that particular service, and we wouldn't went into the office because, first of all, you're too young to think of yourself as such. You're not going to make that kind of money, not in the next 10 years. So you need to get your shit together about what do you feel about, because that was emotional and it's unfortunate. But I do know a lot of young women who felt like that, but that was a response to not learning how to self-advocate and to not be able to allow someone and for them to prioritize because she was severed from her mother. So her mother abandoned her, didn't want to be bothered because she was probably screaming and her hair was probably thick. And then she just and it all comes down to the emotionality of how we feel about our skin and hair. It's not about the hairstyle. It's not about the combs. It's not about the tools. It's not about the apparatuses. It's not about the treatments. It's not about any of that. It's about being able to be walked into a hair salon like a son is walked into his head coach, and the father is talking to the head coach of a basketball team and saying, can you mentor my son, and can you show him a couple of things, and being coached how to maneuver into team, you know what I mean, and
Okay.
to certain things. Life sciences is a beauty chair as well, but the parent does not, or the mother or the father does not see the value in cosmetologists as hair coaches, and to coach them through the hygiene, grooming, and beauty process. And maybe that's something that cosmetology can do better.
Wow. Okay. And Sister Nia Colby just dropped in the chat defense mechanism. I did talk to the mother. I did call her up. My solution was that I actually made a video and I put it on the YouTube channel so that the daughter could go back and watch the video, and I do that. I say, let me make a video with you and your hair versus you getting on YouTube watching somebody else's hair who has nothing to do with your hair. But when I spoke to the mom about her response, because y'all already know Key Lola was like we don't do that, boo boo kitty. The mother's response was very interesting because her response was just very poignantly, I don't do hair. I don't know anything about hair. I've never been able to do my daughter's hair. I've always, just paid for someone to do it. I just, so that was the mother's
Yeah.
defense. Thank you, Nia Kobe. Maybe you are right. At first I was being funny, but I think you're right. The mother's thing was, I don't know how to do hair. That's just, I had a daughter and I didn't know what to do to her hair, so I just bring her to the hair salon. So what do you speak to parents who say, I don't know how to do, that was her response. I don't know how to do it, so I just had somebody else because the mama had, wore mad weaves.
Well, here we go again. You like you said, we're focusing on the mechanics, and it's not mechanical. It doesn't matter if the mother takes the doesn't have the mechanical skills. It is emotional. It's mentioning it. It's talking about it. It's putting her and sitting her down and feeling it and touching it. I like it. And what about this style? And looking at the magazines together. And it's about prioritizing her. It has nothing to do with the fact the mother, it's almost like there is not one child that has emotional problems because a mama can't cook. It's not, what are we talking about? That child is going to love that. If that's a good mother, that child don't care. Them children are not leaving that mama. It will fight you to the end about her, regardless of what she knows how to do and she doesn't. The key is do they feel loved? Do they feel cared for? And what the mother missed in the whole process of pulling her daughter's hair off and being shameful about her own lack of skills, because they could have talked about it. Oh, mom doesn't know how to do this, but a mom's gonna learn how to do baby's hair, and oh my God, it's the highest. The hair is at the crown. It is the highest form of love, the highest form of trust, the highest form of connection. When someone shows you how to care for something like your hair, to acknowledge it, to feel it, and to not think that it's something that's to be avoided. Well, then the girl feels avoided. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, and that's one of the things that maybe we do need to have a conversation while the woman is pregnant, and instead of the Lamaze, or go to the from the Lamaze to the hair class before you have a boy or a girl, and here's what to do and here's what not to do. I'm just now getting around to oncologists, teaching them when patients lose their hair during chemo. So it's a whole thing. Hair
Right.
is about emotions
Wow.
and self advocacy and self
Wow.
value.
That's really touching for me because you're right. You're right, Sister Nia Kobe, because I work a lot with foster parents and parents who have, biracial situations. And we hear this a lot where the foster parent is a lot of times just verbally and physically confronted because the child hair isn't combed. The biracial mom, be it she's white or black or whatever, and they don't understand the child's hair, that we may be missing a very vital piece in our service as cosmetologists, and how to have that conversation with them about the emotional. And even though I get that as an outreach worker, I'll just be honest that I haven't really made that connection. When I'm teaching parents, because when we watch a lot of, and I put that in the little clip, of the, people just showing, biracial parents, adoptive parents, how to do the hair. It's always like hands on, but we do forget that emotional piece and what that says when your mom sits down and comb your hair. Because in my book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, I tell the story of I got beat up because of my hair. That's why my teeth are just like, ew. And so my mom, her response was that the parents, she said they didn't love their kids because they didn't comb their hair. And I thought that was so mean. I was like, And I was like 8 years old, and I remember it was like we had to literally move away from this neighborhood. It was that violent, where these kids were just traumatizing me over my hair. And when they broke my teeth, that was the last straw. Excuse me. And so my mom's response was that those children, she did go to talk with the mom. That was her resolve. Let me just go and try to make peace, and maybe I could show the mothers how to do their kids' hair. And then it just turned into the Hatfields and McCoys, and we had to move from the neighborhood because the kid, and my hair, it wasn't even that long, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, I'm like, why y'all? And so my mother, I remember her saying that a lot of this was because the parents did not love their kids enough to comb their kids' hair. And I think only that was my mother's response. Too young to understand that, but it's amazing or shocking to hear you say that again. That when you are involved with your child's hair and the whole grooming and maintenance process, it is a display of love. And I don't know, but that is very shocking again.
And two, you know, to try to figure out who you are when your guides, your angels, and your mentors, and your biological parents, and don't know who they are. One of the things that I always say about inheritance is that the heir, what makes them such an heir or an heiress, is that they don't have to figure things out. It's not important that I know who I am. The key is that my predecessors know who I am. That's the point. They tell me who I am until I get enough strength and power and gumption and adultness and girth under my belt and experience until I can begin to express it on my own. But if you don't ever install it, install the programming, install the conversation, install the inner dialogue, guide them on what to look for and what not to look for, train their inner talk, and train those sentiments and those heartfelt, and to keep their heart from breaking, and to teach them how to navigate through those things. And you easily do it through the moments that you bond over hair, the way they look, their skin, their color, their image. And that is how you really can bond with them and get their emotionality to be balanced.
Mm.
Not enough, you know, if they need enough ego, well, you give them some masculinity and confidence and all the actions and strong things of that nature. If they need a little more intuition and softness and to inner support, and how to soothe themselves, you know, all those things need to be watered. And the
Wow.
easier thing to do is to do it through the beauty process.
Mm.
The soft always teaches. The soft teaches, and that's where you get your strength from. That's where you get your inspiration from. And that's why when I always enter the room with young males that men can't control, they can't control them because they don't know how to administer the elixir, to hypnotize them, to put her under a spell, to make them feel good about themselves,
Wow.
to speak to them kindly and lovingly. They've never heard it.
Mm.
And you can captivate them and you can get them to do anything that you want them to do. But it's the elegance, it's the softness, it's the grooming, it's the hygiene, it's the teaching them self-respect. And that is what, to me, the most powerful and poignant and vital part of cosmetology. And that is one of the things that to me, natural hair care just does not teach.
Wow.
Because it's the art. It's the art and science of being present in the world. That to me, cosmetology taught from the historical Black perspective up until present day, until you get into some of uh, the distortions and the colloquialism and the jokes, and we're just not careful with our history. We
Right.
really are very negligent with it and careless. And so, I mean, and can we bring it back? Oh, yes, of course. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what we're doing here right now.
Wow. That was absolutely powerful as you was talking. I mean, I was literally, like mentally in my mind, going through that physical and emotional experience with my mom doing my hair. I can remember sitting between her legs. I could smell, I could smell her. I could feel her. I remember the things that she would say to me as a young lady, um, not knowing all of what you're saying. That my mom, I'm trying to get a little tearful here because,
Absolutely.
yeah, because she did
We
those
all
things.
remember it.
Yeah, yeah. It was styling my hair was not a task. It was a
Mm.
it was
Experience.
an experience. Yes, and it
Yeah.
was pure for me and my sister. I hated to get my hair combed, but I remember my sister would literally hold my hands. I would squeeze her fingers so hard, and my sister would just coach me that when you talked about that inner self talk, you know and my sister, she would tell me, you have to be strong, you have to be strong. And it is that inner self-talk that we don't talk about. And I think that what you're saying is like very powerful. Parents don't hear this. We always hear the aesthetics of it. We just hear how they gotta be cute and slay the edges and what products to buy, like you said. That's why I don't understand the natural hair movement, though I would not have made that connection until right now. It's just really important, guys, that whole inner self talk. And that, I think that's why I love my sister so much. She was a thumb sucker and she was a tough little motherfucker. She just was. She was tough. And she would tell me, "You have to be strong," and I would I'm just trying, I'm trying. And my mother, she never ever, was like, well, you just need to be more like your sister, or, she let me cry, and my brother would pull my feet from up under the bed and slide me on out. Come on, Dosha, you got to get that hair comb. It was traumatizing, but in the end, that's why when I said I wanted to be a hairstylist, my parents were like, "What the fuck?" I'm serious, guys. What's up, Muslim? I see you in the chat. I was the last person because they was like, "Girl, bye." But I get it. I get it. I hope you are. I think I got more out of it than you could typically. That's all the way. It always got out like on the dumbest shit people say about black hair when the damn host is like getting all emotional and having a connection, because I hope that you guys have had a connection. And parents, if you are watching this post live, play it again and rethink your role in your son and your daughter's hair care, fathers included, whether you're a foster parent, an adoptive parent, biracial, whatever. There's so many layers and dynamics to hair that goes beyond what we see when it comes to the hairstyle. Yeah, you're right. This was absolutely, yeah, move forward, Nia Kobe, move forward different. And sure, you are just, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm from the hood. Y'all know that's Kilo gonna say this. So sure, you the motherfucking bomb. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? You brings it in a way that nobody can. I know that we are just making a serious impact here on this channel. So wrap us up, because next week we're gonna actually talk about these hairstyles. And I'm gonna have my mannequin, and I'm gonna do some role playing with my mannequin about what I see, and I'm just gonna give some scenarios, and then sure, you just gonna walk us through yay nay. So y'all I'm gonna put on my little Kilolo, I'm gonna come in behind my little my little bling bling. I'm come in my little Kilolo character in honor of Kilolo for Martin. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna come in and do some role playing. We're gonna have a mannequin, and we're gonna do some role playing of what to do, what not to do. But sure, wrap us up on this topic of the role that parents play in their children's hair. And that's not just girls, but boys too.
You know, I have a friend. His name is Arnold Hinton. I haven't spoken to him in years, and he has a photograph, and his wife used to stage them for him, and it was one that was completely iconic, and it has the most gorgeous silhouette of a black woman with this gorgeous hat, and she's writing. And in the writing, I forget if it was Juliet or Arnold who wrote the commentary in this photograph that the woman in the photograph was writing. And he took a photograph of her writing this love letter to her people. And it could have been to even probably a man. But it simply said, beauty shows a man what he's doing wrong to himself. And when you understand that reason why you went into those homes and you immediately saw a pain indicator and how the hair would show the issues and the damage and how deep they went. I will say that once we understand that we all lived 8 years through the beauty of Michelle Obama, and just think if one day she had come out of the house and out of the White House looking just any old kind of way, how that would have traumatized us as a people. Because hair is an indicator that there's something wrong. And so if we understand that as a people, and understanding is the highest form of love, then that means that we must take time out to understand, okay, so it's time for her to do her hair, it's time for him to get his hair done. Let me think about what it is that I intend to do and what I want to leave him with. And if we consistently are present, we don't have to fix it, just be present in the process, then the child will grow to appreciate the time you took to teach them that that's the time they need to take. And it's just a whole domino effect. And so we just need to be a little more mindful, and that's just.
Ooh, I got caught up. I wasn't the only one. We all was mesmerized. He was like, very powerful, powerful, powerful podcast. I hope that you all will, replay this. I'm gonna go back and watch this again. I'm gonna call my sister up today when I leave. Before I leave, I'm gonna thank her.
Yes.
And my mom, she's in heaven. I'm gonna, have a moment with my mom to thank her for that, teaching me that positive self-talk. Yeah, I love this too. This was absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much, Cheryl. We're going to be back.
Welcome.
Hey, you guys in the chat, I appreciate you. Sister Nia Kobe, I have something for you and your son. I'm going to mail this off to you. Come on and send me your address. Curly Hair Adventures. This is a wonderful book that takes children on a fantastic journey of loving their hair. And I'm just going to read the first passage, and we're going to close this out. And I think you guys are going to love this. And basically, this is a little rose, and it just reads, at night before I go to bed, I place my hands on top of my head. I touch my hair. It's a pain to me. It isn't everything I wish it could be. I shrug my shoulders. My mouth has a pout. Ooh, how it hurts to get my hair combed out. So beautiful. I think that we have stories like these for our children, because as we just learned, it's really important, guys, that this is not about a hairstyle. And sure, you've done a phenomenal job at helping us understand that it's much more than what we're looking at. So this one is for you and your son. I'm going to write a nice love note, and we will be back next week. I'm going to be in full character. Y'all better get ready. I'm going to be going live. I'm going to get a little buck wild on this one. Got a little bit emotional because Cheryl got me together. I have some, you know how you think, you was just so something, growing up. But now I realize I was in a very loving environment. I will say that I got to rethink something. Because, I done told myself some crazy shit that wasn't even true. And sure, you just let me realize I've been lying to myself. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys. So we will be back next week with another wonderful episode of the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. We're going part 2 on actually styling your child's hair. So I'm going to, cut some of these snippets and so you guys can just, get some recaps here. Cheryl, you are the bomb.com. Deuces, my good people. Y'all know what I said when I'm always signing out, right? Cheryl and I, we always talking about a whole lot of peace. We for sure talking about a whole lot of love. Most certainly a whole lot of hair. But check this out. Sister Nia Kobe, don't forget to send me that address at ladoshaw@yahoo.com. If you ain't got no hair, don't want no hair, can't stand hair, can't grow it, hell, you plan on cutting it off in 2022, we say don't even worry about it. Just rub your beautiful bald head and your bald patches. It don't matter to us because all of those are beautiful too, and so are you. And yes, guys, it was absolutely powerful. Thank you, Cheryl. You're the best.